steady long that game. And shout out to Red Light Crew.
Hey, you're one of 12 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
Yeah, you know what? To define that better, I think the key there is... Zero cat. I just lost my train of thought.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 100 and something of the Real Life Podcast. I am your friendly neighborhood bagged milk because Tyler is down in LA getting married.
Congratulations, Tyler.
It's a very, very...
Have you seen the engagement photos? There's been multiple.
They look amazing. I can't quite make the ring out on Mrs. Uremchuk's
Well,
finger.
the hands are always hidden.
That's what it is. It's the hands are hidden.
Yeah, it's hidden hands, but the love is not hidden.
But we don't need Tyler to make awesome podcasts.
Of course not.
No, Grant, I mean, he knew what episode we were on and could come out and do a smooth intro.
No,
It's Nation Real Life episode 151, and
That's
thanks
the
to our
one.
friends at Cornerstone Insurance, we are happy. We are lucky. We are thrilled to have with us a 3-time Olympian, a bobsledder extraordinaire, a multiple world championship competitor. Neville Wright, welcome to the Real Life Podcast, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You want to
Thank you
give
for
some
being here.
Olympic notes on that intro? But choppy to start. Hey, maybe didn't do his prep work.
It was pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 3 Olympics.
You forgot to mention he's a Jasper Place Rebel.
JP Rebels represent.
As a fellow rebel, what can you say about this ridiculous outfit by your fellow schoolmate?
I think he's talking about Jay's-
his
fellow
ridiculous-
rebellion.
The ridiculous Uggs he's wearing.
tough.
Just say Uggs are cool.
It's a tough look.
I don't know about that.
Damn it.
I said to Neville earlier when you weren't in here yet, Jay, I'm like, can you remember any Jay's high school fashion, the puka necklaces and the double earrings or anything we want to mock? And it was just like, I don't know. Like, very professional. Double earring game.
I might have been because Neville and I were in a few of the same class, I think in grade 10. Mm-hmm. It was 10 or 11, but I think it was 10. We were in gym class together.
That's got to have been tough for you, Jay.
Yeah, me and him
that's
both
unlucky.
learned how to curl together. I got to teach him how to play a little ice hockey, and then he was just dominated everything else.
What's more discouraging than like a 2-sport champion being in your high school gym class, being like, really? You can't run a 100-meter dash in 12 seconds?
It affected the ego, because, I came out of SBS, shout out Scorpions, thinking, I was this all-world jock. And then, Neville quickly humbled me.
It's like having Einstein in your Math 10 class. Where
Yeah,
he's
it
like,
was
really?
tough.
You can't do quadratics? Let me show you how the unified theory works.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So we're really interested to talk to you. Like, you got to be one of the most decorated Edmontonians of all time. Really want to look at games played in not only in one sport but in 2. That's so fantastic. So maybe you could just like walk our listeners, there's 12 of them, but one's mean, 11 are nice, through like basically the early part of your come up and what you've done for people who don't know.
So I competed at the University of Alberta.
Yeah.
So, Bears and Pandas. There, my second year at university, I ended up winning conference championships and national championships.
In track
and field. I broke a 21-year-old 60-meter record. So if you go to the Butter Dome, my name's actually still up there.
Nice.
So, yeah. So
what were you running? You were running
60 and 4x200 meter relays.
Okay.
Yeah. Dabbled a little bit in the long jump and 300s, but I was better for the shorter distance.
So maybe people who don't know a lot about the U of A track program, it's a good program.
Yeah,
right?
really good program. Yeah. Back in the day when I was there, like during that time, we were really strong on the sprint sides. Actually, long distance as well too.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of records being broken.
So you're there, you're at the U of A, and then what happens after that?
After my second year of university, I got on. I made my first national team. Went to World University Games in Turkey.
Cool. Wow. What was that like?
Actually, it was really. You know what? This was my first time going to Europe.
Yep.
So it was an amazing experience. Going into the opening ceremonies, the closing ceremony. It's almost like the second biggest event to the Olympics.
The Universiade Games came to Edmonton, didn't it? Like 1976, and that's why we have Commonwealth Stadium.
Yeah.
That's where the Butter Dome, I think, was built, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the LRT, for that matter.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Universiade Games. You've given us a city we so much love. Yeah. So then what? So you make the national team.
Yeah, and then from there, my career took off. The following year, I started getting invited out to national team events, and then 2007, it was a really blow up year for me as well too. So I ended up going to another World University Games, and bronze medal in the 100 meters.
In the 100 meter, wow.
Yep, in the 100 meter there. And there was actually a pretty crazy story with that too, because there was a false start, and then they were confused with who won what, and then I went from being like a medalist to like 6th place, and then I was like, whatever, and I just started walking back to the village, and probably about 45 minutes into my walk, they're like, tell Neville to get ready to run again in the morning, and I'm like, I just walked 45 minutes. I'm like, I'm not a distance individual. I'm a sprinter.
Yeah.
So went back the morning, and then I ended up pulling out the bronze medal.
Damn.
And then from there they flew me over to Singapore to join with the World Championship team.
How was that?
That was really nice.
So you've got to see the world now as like a celebrated athlete, where the rest of us are like, we're going to go on a WestJet flight and stay in a hostel. You're like, I came to Europe late, but when I got here, I was handling the bit.
Yeah. To tell you the truth, if it wasn't for, I think a lot of places that I went to, if it wasn't for sport, I probably wouldn't have made it to a lot of these places.
And these are some of the interesting opportunities that open up to really high performance athletes.
Yes.
Is like you were in Korea recently.
Yep.
What was that like?
Tell you the truth, my first time in Korea was actually, I did a commercial out there.
What?
Yeah, so they invited me out. They were looking for someone to be part of a commercial for a printing company.
What year is this?
Man, this was 2000 and
Do you have an IMDb page
Yeah,
we
no
need to
kidding.
look
Take a
into
look
here?
at.
Yeah, I'm on it.
maybe
All right,
2007. And then, so they had a whole bunch of people applying from all over, and they said I fit the body type, flew me out there.
Jacked.
And, I was there for about 3 days.
Looking for a jacked guy.
And I filmed a commercial.
Did you have to speak in Korean?
No. But it's so
What
funny.
was the premise of the commercial?
So basically, it was a printing machine.
Yeah.
And the premise of it was, so they had a Albert Einstein lookalike to say that how smart and sophisticated the machine was. They had 2 guys doing judo, and they saying how powerful it was, and then they had myself sprinting, saying how fast I was, like how fast the machine was.
Okay.
Yeah. So then from there, so that was
Have you
my
seen
first
it? Like, do you watch it ever? And you're like, you know what?
what?
It is a very durable printer. And
Can we find it on YouTube?
Does it exist on the internet?
I don't know. It was so long ago.
Do you know the name of the company?
As their spokesman, I can tell you.
I would have to look it up, but that was my.
If we could find that, that would be great for the socials.
So let's wheel back. So you're a very accomplished track athlete, and then what happens to make you go into a second sport? Like, walk us through that story.
So going into the Olympic year, 2008, Beijing Olympic year, had a killer year the year before, so was getting ready for that, and as I was training, and there's a lot of pressure to make this. I mean, at least I put a lot of pressure on myself.
Of course.
And then I had a hamstring injury earlier in the season, but still kept pushing myself, and then all of a sudden, I'm doing races and I'm getting slower, getting weaker. Was fatigued all the time, couldn't figure out what was going on with me. End up seeing a specialist, and they're like, you have adrenal burnout, so like adrenal fatigue, so burnout pretty much.
From just being so amped up all
and just pushing myself, because I was like, I gotta do whatever it takes to make these games.
Damn.
Then a month out, they try to get me fixed up and ready for Olympic trials. Go to the Olympic trials, going to the rounds, second round.
And what are you running? What event?
100 meters.
100 meters.
Yeah. So I go, and then come out as hard as I can, lean across the line, and I honestly thought I was in, and then realized I missed my opportunity by 200ths of a second.
Oh, for
Wow.
God's sake.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah. So
That's one of the things, like, as civilian as they get. Like, I can't even play video golf. That's how athletic I am, Neville. Don't worry about that. But, like, when you're watching the Olympics and you're watching people who have been training their entire life, and, like, the gymnasts, right? And they'll hit, like, a 8 revolution flip coming off the bar and land and bounce a quarter of an inch, and the Chinese judge is like, 3.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, that's so much of your life for such a tiny, to be 0.02 seconds off. Most people don't even think in increments of that small.
Well, what's even crazier about that is, think about, so I was training for a 10-second race.
Yeah.
So I would train 40 plus hours a week. And you're doing this, 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
All for a 10-second race. So think about, you're doing, if you count up, all those minutes and hours in the day for the week, the month, then the Olympics come around every 4 years. And then for that 10-second race.
Well, and like I think about that sometimes you watching the Olympics, like the hockey guys, right? They're playing so many games. They're playing the early round, and you guys are like, no. We might have 2 races, 10 seconds tops. Like it's crazy, just the amount of pressure you must put on yourself for that small. Like you sneeze mid race, you're never coming back to the Olympics.
Sneeze,
That's the end of you.
Career-ending sneeze.
Yeah. So then what happened? How did you end up making?
So then I thought, all right, that's it. Back to the drawing board. So getting ready for another quad for track and field.
Yeah.
Then my coach at the time was also working with bobsled, and he was like, "Why don't you, come out to a camp?" And so they had this big push camp for me to come out to, testing camp. So I go out there, and this was like February of 2009. Go out there and push, and it was the fastest at the time that any new recruit had pushed. So they're like, train, work hard, and you can make this team. I did that the summer, made the team October. And then, so basically less than 6 months of being in sport, made my first Olympics at that February.
Wow.
2 things popped in my mind, Jay, when I heard that story. Number 1, I feel bad for all the kids who've been bobsledding since they're 6, and they're like, it is my time to shine.
And then along comes Neville.
And Neville shows up, and he's like, really? No. This is what shining looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Boom.
I always imagine the recruitment process for bobsled like that of like spy recruitment. Like they're watching these guys, like these awesome track athletes, and then they wait in like a dark garage smoking a cigarette, and they see you walk by and they say, "Hey, Neville." And all you see is the cherry from a cigarette.
You want to go to the Olympics?
Yeah, you want a bobsled? Let me tell you about bobsled.
You're pretty close to that. Yeah. They actually came to me back in 2005 the first time, and they're like, you should think about bobsledding. And I'm like, isn't that a winter sport? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, man, no, I'm not about that. Like going in minus 40 weather, going down like an icy track, no control. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. And then,
This is how the Nordiques got Peter Stasny.
They brought him in. They had to convince him.
But what is that rush like when you're flying down a track at 100 plus kilometers an hour, though? It must be something surreal, right?
Yeah. Well, the first track I ever went down was the Olympic track for Vancouver and Whistler. So it was the fastest track in the world still.
Oh, perfect. That's where you want to get your start.
Yeah.
So I go down the first time, and you don't really know what to expect. So I was fortunate to be with a really good pilot. So I go down.
Is there a half speed you can do it with? It's your first time? No.
It's all in. They're like, yep, get to the top. They're like,
is there like snow plowing for this? No, there's no snow plowing.
They're like, don't touch the brakes. So yeah, you just let it run. And I remember coming across because I didn't really know what to expect. And
of course,
come across the finishing line, and I'm still trying to figure out like the sport. And I remember the pilot turns around and he yells something because it's so loud. I'm thinking, because I'm pulling the brakes, and he yells. I thought he said no. So I let go of the brakes. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, pull the brakes. And then I remember we flew past the finishing dock. And then, so then I was like, all right, that's not bad. Then the second run though, I remember going down the track, and it was the longest, 50 seconds of my life.
Because you kind of knew what to expect this time.
Yeah. And you're feeling everything. And I was just like, I just want to get out of this thing right now.
Do you just kind of shut your eyes and just kind of wait? And just hope that everything goes exactly as planned when you're in the back of the bobsled?
Allow me. No, you don't close your eyes and pray at the Olympics bag milk. You screw your eyes shut and you remember your fucking training.
I'd be screaming and crying.
No, actually, you know what? At one point, I closed my eyes because, there's a little gap in the bottom of the sled, for the brake handles, and I was just watching. But it was like you see line, and it got to a point I'm like, all right, I can't look at the same. I was first closing my eyes, and I'm looking at that, and then I would try and look somewhere else or whatever. But then it got too weird feeling with my eyes closed. So I was like, yeah, no, I gotta keep my eyes open.
So you just stare at the back of the person in front of you?
I would stare at random things in the bottom of the sled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're making the decision, you're like, okay, I'm a very, very good runner. I'm a global runner. When they invite all the top runners in the world, I get my ticket and I come, and there's I'm sure an immense satisfaction of that.
Yeah.
What's the calculations to go into a new sport? Are you like, there's probably a higher chance I can medal in the Olympics going and doing this, or I think my running because of my adrenal fatigue maybe isn't a good, is it a plan B or is it a new plan A when you go to do that?
Tell you the truth, my plan B was just to start training all over again for track and field.
Yeah.
So, but with bobsledding, I find that it's a sport where some people say it's a sport where, athletes go to die. Right. But yeah, it's a sport where that provides opportunity for other athletes of different sports. So.
Are most people in bobsled really, really good athletes in other sports who've converted, or are there people who've gone wire to wire as bobsledders?
There's people that are strictly bobsledders, but most of the bobsledders that you see are either track athletes or football players. Or former football players.
How much did you have to change your training around going from sprinting to bobsledding? Was there a lot more lower body work that you had to do? How did that work?
Yeah, the sprinting was pretty much the same. Although I had to work on more acceleration, so coming first 30 meters, the lifting was actually quite a bit more. So trying to get bigger and stronger.
I imagine it's like trying to push a fridge through a 100-meter dash.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is, I would do training like that too, like where, say I couldn't get to Calgary to the push track, I would sometimes call up random people or like my mom, or I'm like, hey, what are you doing? All right, I need you to sit in your car and I'm just going to push you around.
Come on.
Yeah. So I would actually do training where I would push cars like back and forth, like over 20, 30 meters.
Damn.
My training, yeah.
Your mom's like, well, this is what I signed on for when my child was very talented as a youth.
Yeah. She was actually, it was so funny because I have a video of me pushing, and then you could see her in the video, like looking at towards the camera with the biggest grin on her face, kind of like, I can't believe this is happening right now.
Imagine they had 100-meter dashes where you're like pushing someone in a shopping cart, and you're just like, it's kind of like bobsled, but like on the ground, but it's not as heavy. Then away you go. Right?
The way the Olympics are going, you never know. They might end up having that event.
It's a demonstration sport.
Yeah.
So tell our listeners then about the success that you had in bobsled, because it's unbelievable.
After my first Olympics, we ended up coming fifth in 4-man.
Mm-hmm.
Then
and where was that at?
Vancouver.
Vancouver, yeah, 2010.
Then the following year after that, I had hooked up with another pilot. So I've had, in my entire career, I've raced with, all 3 Olympics, 3 different pilots.
Wow.
So my second year of bobsledding, I hooked up with the pilot that won the bronze in Vancouver. And actually, we had a pretty
Pierre
successfully.
Lueders?
No, actually, Pierre. I was with Pierre in my first Olympics.
Oh, I thought
He was your pilot in the first Olympics?
Yeah.
Right out of the gate.
Whoa,
Unbelievable.
bobsled freaking legend.
Yeah.
Wow.
How is he? I heard he's intense.
Yeah,
I think all these guys are intense, man. They're bobsledders.
He can be pretty intense. But with bobsledding, actually, when I first came out with him, I remember my first race with him. We're in Park City, Utah. And, I'm warming up like how I normally would in track and field, kind of, have that little track swag. And then I get back to the start house, I'm putting on my gear. And then sitting down, and all of a sudden the atmosphere in the room just changed. And all of a sudden it was like a zombie apocalypse or something, like a biological attack. All of a sudden, guys are going crazy, yelling, smashing things. And then I remember he was like, come on, Neville, you have to get mad. You have to get crazy. Come on. And I'm like, all right, when in Rome.
We didn't do this in the sprinting.
Yeah, so all of a sudden I was like, yeah. And all of a sudden I turned from like, this calm track guy to like a blend of like Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Incredible Hulk. And I'm like, all right, yeah, brother, let's get it. And I'm like hyping myself up and everything. And then honestly, it was so crazy. I walked out to the start house to go push. And I went from this smooth, like flowing individual to just this restricted. It was like my legs and my arms were frozen. And I was just shuffling. I got so hyped up that I got overhyped.
And your doctor in the stands is like, that's what the adrenal burnout looks like,
there we
Neville.
go.
We told you not to get that jacked up.
Yep, adrenal dump, yeah.
You're like, well, my new sport combines all the hard work of sprinting and the terror of going down sheer ice. So I'm sure that's good for the old adrenal glands, right?
So then I actually almost didn't even make my first team, like because that performance was so crippled. Like I didn't do so well in that. I did okay in the performance.
This is when your first race with
my
Luders,
first
when
race.
you came out all.
Yeah.
So that wasn't good.
So it was okay.
Okay.
So then I didn't do the next race, and then I thought at one point they're like that was it for me. So they're telling me that they're gonna send me home and everything. So I was like, all right, well just let me know if I need to go back to track. And then they called me again, said you're coming out, but you might not race. And then it went from I jumped into one race with him, another one, and before I knew it, I was his main foreman brakeman.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how many Olympics have you been to then?
Three. So 2010 Vancouver,
Yeah.
2014 Sochi, Russia, and 2018 Pyeongchang,
Now, we have no preparatory work done for this, but is it okay if we ask you G-rated questions about being in the Olympics?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Olympic Village stories now.
Yes. What is the Olympic Village like? Pick your favorite of the three. Like a Sochi Winter Olympics Village has got to be very, very different from Beijing with like helicopters hovering overhead and shit, right?
Well, I know for Sochi, I mean, I would say they're all relatively.
How was your building in Sochi? Let's start with
So,
that.
okay. So here's the thing. I didn't even realize that people were thinking, like, my brother messaged me and he's like, hey, what's going on? Like, out in Sochi. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, the way they're making it seem like you guys are like, living in quarters on dirt floors and,
River of sewage down the hallway.
Just 3 toilets
no
in one
toilets.
room.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, my room's fine. Like, at most I might have like a little bit of a leaky shower, but our quarters were fine.
Okay.
I guess it was the media, their quarters wasn't as great.
Yeah.
So I think when they were saying what their quarters were like and taking pictures, I think people just assumed that's what it was for us.
It's crazy that you've been to the environment that like the Russian government really wanted to be a showpiece for their culture and their country, and also you've been the one that the Chinese did too,
Yeah.
right? Like these are like 2 of the 4 most powerful governments in the world. They're like, nothing bad's going to happen in Sochi. You make sure. Like, was it eye-opening just to see like the security apparatus that was going around the Olympics in those places?
I remember in when we were in Sochi and there was a parade. They had something going on in the streets and they're like, just be careful with like opening your windows and stuff like that because I believe the president was in this I don't know if it was a parade or was passing through or something like that. And they're like, yeah, you open up your windows real quick, that could be a
I
problem.
think it's a sniper.
Yeah. So,
Shit.
but tell you the truth, when I was out there, like, I mean, it was perfectly fine for myself. Like speaking from myself, and I'm assuming other athletes as well too. Very welcoming. They basically they go out their way to make sure that you're comfortable, you're happy. The only thing I think that got me was the food.
Oh, and where?
And well, both Sochi and Korea.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So in Sochi, it was like you start off, there's some foods that's okay, and then you get to a point where it's like, man, I can't be eating this. all the
I'm
time.
surprised you guys don't bring your own chefs and stuff like
Well,
that. There isn't.
So the Canadian Olympic Committee, what they do is we have our own like Canada building.
Okay.
And in there, they try to make it as homely for us as possible. So they're bringing extra like food, things for shakes, bars, like basically whatever we need, cereals, things like that to make our stay more comfortable.
So you've been in these 3 Olympics, you get done your event, and again, G-rated, I'm not trying to dig anything in, but you're like,
I know where you're getting at, but
I'm done. And in fact, most people here are done. And I imagine just like people who are so singularly devoted to like, I'm only here about the luge, and now I'm done the luge, or I'm only here about the skiing with the shooting, and I haven't talked to a soul in 4 years. I've been skiing and shooting. What's it like when the Olympic Village comes alive?
So the village actually comes alive pretty early because a lot of people finish their competition earlier in the games.
Okay.
For us, unfortunately, we are the very last event. Us in hockey. Yeah. So we minimize how much traveling, doing anything else, and we're seeing these people have partying, going around, doing all sorts of stuff, but we have to stay disciplined and focused.
But it's not like the Van Wilder dorms where you're trying to sleep and there's noise outside, is there?
Sometimes
Really?
some areas, yeah. So so what they try to do is they try to do like a noise curfew, kind of like by this time everyone needs to be quiet. But I mean, you could hear some people.
Try telling that to a speed skater who just came in 8th, right? They're like, fuck that, I'm partying.
Yeah. So for us, we have to wait to the very end. I mean, the celebration at the end is like legit.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can't do anything until we're completely finished.
I always think of the story of Yao Ming's parents, how his dad was the captain of the Chinese basketball team, and his mom was the captain of the Chinese volleyball team, and one day the Chinese government was like, you guys are going to have a kid, and he's going to be amazing at something. That's how I imagine the Olympics afterwards being like, all the skiers are over in one side, and then there's all the whatever the different events are. Are people mingling? Is it?
So, especially with the last 2 Olympics, there's 3 villages.
Yeah.
So we have the mountain village where all the sliding sports are, bobsledding, luge, skeleton, skiers, everyone like that. Then you have the coastal village, and that's where like the speed skaters are. And then you have like speed skaters, curlers, basically anything on ice. And then you have the endurance village, like biathlon and all like more the distance events.
Okay.
So we're all kind of separated. Sometimes we'll come into each other's village based on housing but yeah, we usually only, everyone mingles within their village.
Okay.
Much, yeah.
Did any village have kind of like a reputation as being the go-to spot?
I feel like
Curlers,
Mountain
man.
Village.
Curlers drink.
The only guys who can smoke during their Olympic event.
those guys can get pretty hyped too. But I think the Mountain Village. I mean, if you come around bobsledders, like some of the sliding sport athletes, like those guys get pretty like turned up and like wild. Like you'd be surprised.
Oh yeah, for
I can
sure.
just imagine being like part of the Kazakhstani Olympic Committee, and I'm like, what am I in charge of? Like, you're in charge of speed skating, and just going through the Olympic Village, seeing if anybody wants to mate with my skaters. Be like, anybody over there in Belarus looking for a good time? I got a 23-year-old long form speed skater looking to have it, and then a generation later, you dominate. That's probably not how it is. So, of your experience, then, who are the athletes to avoid in the party at the Winter Village? Is there a nation? Is there a sport? Like Finns, we know party hard, and like Finnish people get a little. Did you have that experience?
I would say I think of not to avoid, but I think when it comes to the different sports, I feel like bobsledders, and I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but I feel like bobsledders are the most hyped up partiers.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bobsledders know how to party.
Yeah.
Since your event was kind of like towards the end of the Olympics, did you get a chance to kind of enjoy some of the other stuff when you're there? Or are you so singularly focused on what you have to do and the job that you have coming up?
The last Olympics I did, I got to watch a few of the gold medal races for speed skating. Cool. But usually my first two, I was actually more just focused on, getting prepared, getting ready to compete.
How surreal was it your first Olympics ever happens to be in Canada?
People always ask me like, how is that feeling? And like, you go and hang out with your friends and you're excited. Someone cuts you off on the road, you're angry. You have ice cream, you're happy.
Oh yeah.
I feel like with the Olympics, it's hard to really describe that feeling. Like there's for me, one thing I would say is there's a overwhelming sense of accomplishment to know that all that hard work, dedication, and beating the odds and getting there was the emotion that I was feeling. Like just almost, first of all, it was like disbelief. Like, man, all right, this is unbelievable. I can't believe I'm here. And then from, man, like it all paid off. All that hard work, dedication, the dark times, the lonely times, the ups, the downs, through all that, I was like, I persevered and I made it.
Oh, that must feel so satisfying. And yeah, I guess that'd be so tough to, like, I'm just getting chills you describing that. And that must be, it must be tough to articulate. All I know is if I was in Canada at the Olympics and I am wearing a Canadian athlete kit, I am pre-race, jacked up Neville, just hard strutting down Robson Street, being like, yeah, Canada.
Better look out.
Yeah.
The opening ceremonies in Vancouver must have been, like, in terms of things to participate in as a Canadian for patriotism, it's got to be up there.
Well, I mean, we're the last nation coming in. Yeah. And I remember, because you're waiting for a long time before you come out. Like, we're in this one area where all the athletes are. So during that time, we're all mingling, training. Therethere's a big thing where everyone trades pins.
Okay.
So you have pins from different nations. So we're doing all that, and then finally, we're getting called up, and we're walking for a bit. Everyone's getting excited, and they're like, "Oh, you got to pause." And then you come down. That's like adrenaline dump right there. It's like you're getting up and then getting down, up and down, and then finally, when we get out there, I mean, it was unbelievable. And some people would talk about like, oh yeah, when they come in, when we get out there, I'm just gonna be all relaxed and calm and like to like take the moment in and
where you're like, no, I got my strut worked out.
And everyone's like, even with your phones, like, try not to use your phones or video, take pictures, just take the moment in. And everyone's like, yeah. As soon as you get out there, everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And yeah, so it was surreal. Like the roar in that stadium was unbelievable.
And did you feel the same type of excitement in the crowds in both Beijing and Sochi afterwards too, or do you think that was a special roar for the hometown crowd?
Sochi in Korea, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Tell you the truth, when we came out, they still cheered. Yeah, obviously it's going to be nothing like Canada. right? But yeah, they're still. We still got the the big cheers and the nice welcome when we came in.
The only thing I can think of comparing it to is like winning a major trophy on home field or home ice, right? It's like when you see the NHL teams and the Bruins win on the road and people are like, whatever, I'm going home, fuck you. Yeah. That's got to be a little bit deflating versus winning at home. Yeah. But being an Olympic athlete where the odds are like remote, you're even going to make the Olympics, let alone in your own home country, to be the Olympic heroes in 2010, that's got to just be...
like I said,
like a Canadian tattoo just like show up on your arm spontaneously.
But no, honestly, like I said, like the feeling was just surreal. Like, I mean, the amount of support, the amount of love that we got, like, I mean, from messages to, we try to get a break from the village. So like we go out into the town, and in Whistler, there's one place called Splits Burger, which is like really good, where we will go out to, and I remember going into town and everybody, like so many people, hey, wanting the high fives and the pounds and pictures, and I remember at one point I was smiling for so many pictures. I was like, man, my face and my jaw hurt, like I'm smiled out. Wow. But yeah, the support was unbelievable.
You mentioned food, and because since you guys are like burst strength athletes, how many calories? So when it's race day or getting ready for race day, like how many calories are you consuming? Is it like during training or during does it get crazy or?
Well, while I'm training, like leading into the season, like I was getting like close to like 4,000 calories. Before competition, like even at the games, I tell you the truth, my calorie count was probably pretty low. Like I'd say like 1,500, 1,500, just because. Well, first of all, bobsledding is you're going on a roller coaster, and there's a lot of G forces.
Yeah.
And how many G's will you hit?
6. Yeah.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow. So that's like a fighter pilot.
Yeah. So think about this: you're going down the bobsleigh track. You just had, and I made a mistake like this before. I had some pasta. Yeah. Going down the track, and those G forces now are hitting you, and they're pushing everything down.
There's only one way for that to go.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. The eject.
That's just math.
Yeah. So I was like, then I stopped doing that. Besides the nerves, but yeah. So there's a saying that we'd always say, like, everyone's gonna clean the pipes. So before they compete, like there's massive lineups for the bathroom, because everyone's trying to squeeze out whatever's left in them, because there have been situations where guys have messed themselves up going down the track. 4
guys in this tiny little bobsled, and you said earlier you're like Transformers trying to be in every little nook and cranny, and then someone hits eject on the VHS. That's a bad run.
Yeah. That run was the shits, right? Thank you.
Hey, you're a bobsledder, you know the joke. That's got to be one of the most fulfilling things on a patriotism side is just watching an Olympics. I couldn't even imagine like participating in that. Do you stay in touch with anybody from other countries? Are you like, boy, those Belarusian bobsledders, we're going to kick their asses, but it turns out we're best friends?
Tell you the truth, you'd be like on tour, everyone gets along pretty well with each other. Like, all the different nations will hang out with each other.
So what do you in between Olympics? Maybe walk us through like how often you're going to events and stuff like that. Like how does that work?
So every year we have 8 World Cup races.
Okay.
And then World Championships, and then the 4th year 8 World Cup races, and then the Olympics. So we're traveling. We're basically we're all traveling with each other, like year round. Like
so the people you see at the Olympics, you've already been seeing them nonstop. It's been the same crowd all the time.
Yeah. The only ones, like some of the smaller ones, like are on the America's Cup or Intercontinental Cup or Europa Cup circuit, like the ones, some of the smaller nations, you might not see them. But usually anyone who you're with, like throughout the entire season, is who you end up seeing at the games, unless they don't qualify.
Did you have a hilarious crew of other teams where you're like, every time we see these guys, we have to go and have one of their weirdo shots or whatever?
You know what? It was just everyone, like, I mean, different nations have different things about them. Like, I mean, we got along really well, like, Great Britain.
Oh, yeah.
Even the Germans.
I thought we didn't like the Germans because they're so good.
You know what? No, but the thing about it is that like obviously on the track, it's a whole different situation where everyone's against everyone. But then off of that is like we're all good and joke around
drinking
each other.
Drinking 9-liter stein of beer with them.
Yeah, Weiss beer. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
But so everyone gets along pretty well. Yeah,
because like you're all going through the same shit.
Yeah.
Right, everybody's got the same. And are a lot of the people then track athletes too that you can be like? Did anybody you ever saw in the track world you saw again in the bobsled world?
Actually, there was one. Well, actually, So from my first Olympics, my team there, one of the guys I was on the team with, I didn't realize that. Oh, we raced against each other in track and field until like a few years later. I was looking at the picture and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, you were at this race. You were like, 2 lanes over from me. He's like, yeah. And we ended up going to our first games together. So that was kind of cool. From Great Britain, there was one athlete that was on the team that actually I raced against at World University Games.
Cool.
As well too. So seeing him, I think I saw him like 6-7 years after competing against him. Yeah.
That's got to be wild to see. Like, hey, you're here too. You.
Yeah.
It's a case where, like, think a sport like bobsled, is it brute force that you need to bring above all else to the table? Is the race won in the initial push and run, or is it the pilot that wins the race, or like
It's a balance of everything. So I'd say brute
The start's
force.
very important.
You have to have a good start. Like, I mean, there's some pilots that are some teams where they might not have the best start, but then they can drive really well and they have good equipment. But it's a combination of everything, like brute force, finesse. So in the beginning, when we start, like, you see these big, massive guys. Some guys are, if it's cold, you see them blowing steam from the nose and whatever. And, we get set up and we're yelling our commands to get ready and then just, attacking the sled with everything we got, like real aggressive. But while we're being aggressive, we're still being smooth and fluid because you don't want to create extra movement in the sled or lift it up, which I do sometimes get too hype and I'm carrying the sled and running. But and then by the time we're ready to load, we go from these ferocious, big, massive beasts to all of a sudden just these real graceful, like I said, like ballerinas, gymnasts, where we get in like real smooth because you don't want to disturb the sled, and then. Like I said before, and then turning to the transformers, and then hang on for the ride, stay as still as possible down the track, and then the pilot he takes care of the rest.
And can he see? I'm trying to think of how it looks.
Oh yeah, he can see.
When
He's got his head just
the way how they do it. So when they're in their seat and they're kind of like their butts kind of scooched, and there's a cowling, and they're actually just barely looking over it because you don't want to be too high because
wind drag. Right?
Yeah, you want to have the best aerodynamic profile. So you want to stay as low as possible.
So you really want your eyes higher on your forehead.
If you could.
If you want to be at peak.
The best pilots have high eyes.
Yeah, it's high eyes, yeah.
They can see. Sometimes you're walking down the street and you see a guy with really high eyes, probably a pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now the question I would have, what did you like better at the end of your 2 careers now? Can you look back and say, like, I preferred to do track or I preferred to do bobsled, or like are they a tie, like you had twin kids and you can't say you like one more than the other? How does that work?
Track and field was always my first love. I did that, at the time I did it the longest, but I would say with bobsledding, I miss the team aspect of competing because bobsled with track and field is very individual, right? And I mean, when you with your successes, to when your disappointments, like you're by yourself with that. With bobsledding is like, you have teammates that will have your back, and then, I mean, bobsleigh exposed me to more opportunities. And not only did it expose me as an athlete to travel, compete, but also it revealed more things about myself. My character was an instrumental part of my development.
Question I have to ask is, I'm reading your profile on the Olympic website. Talks about you making your playlist the day before a race.
Yeah.
I need to know what is on Neville Wright's training playlist.
Good question.
On my playlist is actually, I usually do more instrumentals. So I'll have anything from hip hop instrumentals, gospel instrumentals, but everything's like fast. So it starts off I have it almost kind of timed where I do my warm up and things are a little bit moderate. And then all of a sudden, as I start getting faster and doing more things in my more dynamic things in my warm up, then it picks up. So, and then also it just depends on my feeling. Like what I do for a race, the music I have for a race, differs from what I have for when I'm lifting in the gym.
I don't think that's what I thought you were hoping to hear some sort of song that you could put into your life, Bagmouth.
Yeah, I feel like I need better songs on my training playlist for sure. Is there some that you had on both lists that you're just like, yeah, this is my staple. I need this one.
Okay. my actually go-to was Papoose, Born to Win.
Wow.
Yeah, so he, like, when he's rapping this song,
The other king of New York.
yeah, he's telling a story, right? Telling a story, like, kind of like, you know, then people didn't believe in him, and, like, you know, the grind, the hard work he put in. And I remember I was actually looking for random songs, and there's a point where I got, like, you know, like, as you're competing as an athlete, sometimes you can get pretty low. Like, you have those low times, and I remember I found this song. I'm like, man, the song's speaking to me. And I remember I just had this song on repeat over and over and over. And then that was actually like my theme song for the rest of my bobsledding career.
You should tell Papoose. He'd probably love to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
For
yeah.
real, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
people
Take
take
him,
your
yeah.
music and it has an impact on their
Yeah.
lives. There isn't a musician on earth who wouldn't want to hear that story.
Yeah.
I like the idea of instrumentals in terms of like getting you jacked up, but also like when you have instrumentals, you can like mentally kind of like get deep
Yeah.
into it. At least that's the impact I have. So I kind of like that. That's what you said. Very cool.
Well, I can't identify that because I don't know nothing about no sport training. What I can, the question that popped into my head was your man cave / office must have the sickest Olympic merch of anybody around. What do you got? You don't probably have a bobsled that you're like, that's the one we took to Vancouver. But what do you have?
Tell you the truth, so I've been collecting, like, one of the biggest things I have are, so I have these pins.
Yeah.
And these are collector items.
From other
They're-
athletes.
Yeah. And there are people that, like, I didn't realize, like, there are people that buy this stuff. Like, it's a big deal. So I have pins from all the way from 2000, my first national team, 2005, all the way up till now. So I have, like, just massive case. And then I have things from rings to the mascots to gear to, like, I mean, I have.
Do you have a room in your house that's just
I have an area that's
awesome?
just the whole shelf.
Awesome.
It's just filled with Olympic or Team Canada or just international competition swag or items.
Better make sure you have an insurance policy.
I was gonna say 20
Cornerstone
years from
insurance
now.
on that.
Hey, hey, nicely
Hey?
done. 20 years from now, and people are reaching out to you, being like, "Do you have that finish pin from 2010 to complete my set?"
Actually, I got two.
It's going to cost you €9,000.
Yeah.
I also want to ask you about your nickname Wolverine. How did that come about?
Well, so it came from where every time I was, you know, training or, you know, times where it seemed like that I wasn't going to perform, it was like, you know, or say like I had like little nicks or bruises or some injuries and stuff. It was kind of like one of those things like take a licking and keep on ticking. So it was like, you know, you can always depend on me to come through. And I'd always say like how I started off as Wolverine in the beginning of my career where, you know, I'd heal quick and recover quick to all of a sudden, like towards the ending of bobsledding, I turned to like Old Man Logan.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was like, man, what's going on with me? I'm not recovering as well as I used to.
That fits in, I guess, nicely into this quote that, I'm going back to your Olympic profile from Frederick Douglass. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. It kind of all fits into that same kind of idea, right?
Yeah. So with that quote there, it was kind of like I look at it as where in order to achieve greatness or do great things or excel, you need to go through some type of struggle or go through some hard times, experience some pressure. Because I think those are the moments that help you to grow as an individual, not just even as an athlete, but even outside of sport as an individual. And I feel like your character can never develop unless you go through some hard times or through some struggles.
Is there somebody that taught you that kind of work ethic, or is that something that you picked up, you know, just kind of working through it yourself?
It was kind of like a blend. Like I know growing up, you know, my mom had to work really hard. So I lost my father at a young age, at 2. So my mom had to, you know, work extra hard to help provide for us. So I would see how she would grind and do what she needed to do to try and provide for us. So seeing that, and then actually help kind of push that in me, because I'm like, you know, in the end we all turned out, you know,
Exemplary well.
Oh, yeah.
So then
You gave her the
seeing
greatest
that-
gift of all.
Yeah.
Being
And
an
then-
Olympian. That's cool.
And then the other thing too was people always ask about a role model. Right, my role models actually, like, I didn't really have any adult role models or my role models are more superheroes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so like Wolverine, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and seeing like the internal struggle that they'd go through, the external battles that they had to go through and overcoming, and seeing how like every time they went through this, they got better and better and more resilient, and that's how I kind of looked at it for myself and kind of what I followed.
Who's the best Batman? Is it Christian Bale? We're relating here.
Got to be Michael Keaton, right?
No, Michael Keaton.
George Clooney. Actually, you know what?
Val Kilmer, of course.
I'm OG. Adam
Val
West.
Kilmer.
Adam West.
I'm going to ask Neville who's the best Batman.
You know what? I have to give it to Christian Bale, although I know a lot of people would say they disagree, but I didn't mind Ben Affleck in some aspects.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a podcast for another day.
The Christopher
because-
Nolan Batmans to me are the best Batmans. Like those are
tough to-
like. It's I love me some Adam West, and I'm sure he was a pioneer in the original Batmobile.
Guy could dance.
Yeah,
Guy could dance.
He could the Bat Shuffle.
The Bat-Toozy.
The Bat-2C.
That's the one, of course. Interesting.
No respect for Val Kilmer. Okay, I
none.
get it.
Zero respect for Val Kilmer. Although I did hear a story the other day that when he was working on the movie The Island of Dr. Moreau with Marlon Brando, that the original director of that movie, because they went to some random island to film this movie, got into voodoo and like got super into it. And then this is before like cell phones and shit, so they had to send someone from the studio out to this island, and the director went like bananas and cursed the entire movie. And both Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando have spent fortunes, Brando before he passed away, trying to undo this curse they felt was put on them by being in the island of Dr. Moreau.
Unbelievable.
And that's how you make it to the Olympics.
Exactly.
Now,
Step one, step
what are you
two.
doing now? What are you doing nowadays in 2020?
So right now, so I always worked on my transition, my big three, so which was speaking, coaching, and therapy. So I'm currently practicing as a therapist, Wright Performance and Therapy. So I'm a massage therapist by certification, but a performance and pain management therapist or sports therapy.
So you're dealing with athletes.
Yes, athletes. I'd say recreational to high performance. I still work with general population as well too, but my main demographic is recreational to high performance.
Cool.
And then I'm still doing some coaching as well, speed and acceleration coaching, teaching athletes how to sprint, how to get faster.
At the U?
No, just
privately?
wherever. Like, I mean, I've worked with university athletes to pro athletes, and then speaking. I really have a passion and enjoy sharing my story with others, and I find it's important when you're given a platform that can help others and motivate, inspire others to not to give up and to reach their optimal potential. I feel that it's important for me to contribute and share my story. So that's my greatest passion.
Sick.
Well, you did a great job sharing it with us today, and we're super grateful.
Super happy you came in
to
here.
hear. Like I knew from afar, like holy shit, Neville's an Olympian now. He's a Bob. Like, this is crazy, but not like hearing the story of the come up and the transition is. There's a lot of inspiration to pull from there, right? And just kind of like being, I think, sharing struggles is very important because everyone goes through struggles, right?
Yeah.
And sharing with how you overcame them and kind of where you got to be is unreal. And like,
I'll throw Jay under the bus too, having watched many Winter Olympics with him where he's got a lot of weird Rain Man data in the back of his head. Every time you were performing, he's like, I gotta watch this. My boy's fucking doing the bobsled. Everything else shut down for your runs.
I love the Winter Olympics. I will watch everything. Speed skating, the longer the race, the better. Love it.
Love it.
I forgot to mention also, I'm doing a series, a web series called The Right Way. And pretty much what's happening with that is now that I'm retired, I really never had the opportunity to try out different sports. So I'm actually getting the opportunity to learn about the individuals, or I get some coaches teaching me certain sports. And then I go and I demonstrate it myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we're working on
Is that on YouTube?
It's supposed to be finished. We finish everything by June.
Sick.
So it's in the works right now.
Let us know when we can put it out on the
Yeah,
platform.
100%. We will
Appreciate that.
definitely push it.
You bet.
What kind of adventures have you been on so far?
Well,
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Don't you want to tune in?
That's a teaser.
Do you want me to tell you how Dark Knight ended too?
Could you? I haven't seen
Put it
it.
this way, I'll be stepping outside my comfort zone.
Nice.
Excellent.
That's how we plug.
Dressage.
Well,
Dressage would be nice.
Horse racing, of course. Of course. All right. Well, thank you very much. I think we'll take a break now, Hernan, and we'll shut her down. But thank you very much, Neville Wright, for coming on Real Life Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Cornerstone, for making this happen.
Thank you, Cornerstone.
And I know we're going to lead into Japa very quick. I bet you he can push a C90 if he had
There's
to.
no doubt he can't push a C90.
Big piece of oil.
But anyways, I jumped in. Bagmilk's got work to do.
Of course, thank you very much to Mary Brown's for this pop-in, having Neville Wright sit with us and tell a story. Of course, they have their bite-sized morsels of 100% breast meat chicken coated in Mary seasonings and served hot, crispy, and oh so yummy. Choose Thai for a kick of sweet heat topped with sesame seeds. Improve your life. Your mouth will thank you for it. Thanks for another wonderful Mary Brown's Pop-In.
Delicious Mary Brown's poppin'.
Now we're going to swing over to hockey. So I asked earlier, do you want to talk? And you're like, I don't want any part of this bullshit. And you guys need to stick to your topic. So you can just chime in if you like or don't. It's up to you.
There's no pressure.
No pressure.
Or you can just call us idiots because we say some silly things from time to time.
And really, the conversation is supposed to be about hockey, but we're probably going to go back to the island of Dr. Morrow because I want to finish off how that thing went. The director, who was never heard from again now, I can't remember where he's holed up, but he's been never heard from again and swears he has footage of zombies.
I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's putting together a movie that's going to like show us that zombies are real.
I'm scared to watch that movie now in the event that it's got like some kind of residual curse that it emanates from watching
Echo
it.
curse?
Echo curse. Google it. It's probably a thing.
Val Kilmer was never the same after the island of Dr. Morrow.
I'm still upset.
He was
You guys-
great in The Saint. I did like The Saint.
Was that post Dr. Morrow?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what's weird is I used to go to the video station near my house as a kid and ask them for the old movie posters that they'd taken down. And the Island of Dr. Morrow was up in my room from like grade 5 to grade 7.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm wondering maybe that's why I wasn't Batman.
We might have to give
I
you a
too
smudge.
was cursed. Oh, good smudging?
Good smudge.
I'm still rattled by your disrespect for Michael Keaton. He was an excellent Batman.
Michael Keaton brought Batman back, and I did like Michael Keaton. I would say he
With
is.
Danny DeVito, come on, that's great.
But it was a
I
comedy.
thought that went too dark for me. Batman Returns was tough for me, and Danny DeVito was creepy. I obviously liked the first Batman, but yeah, if you had to rank Batmans, and I love Batman. He's my favorite superhero. I have a pair of Batman boxers that I've had for like 12 years, and I will refuse to throw them away. And I
wish you'd get those Uggs and throw them away.
If Batman, if they made Batman Uggs, trust me, I am the only customer getting them. You have to go Bale number 1, just because The Dark Knight was the best. Then I have to slide in Keaton. Then I gotta go Adam West.
Oh, over Ben Affleck?
Oh, Ben Affleck's fighting. Ben Affleck's probably. Sorry, Neville.
He had his moments. I'm with you.
He had good moments.
He's probably. I have a tough time believing Ben Affleck is a superhero, which is kind of what Bruce Wayne is. You know, like he's just like he's not supposed to be like superhero.
It's because of Daredevil, isn't it?
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts a little bit.
Superheroes, right?
Yeah.
It hurts, and just like him trying to like talk, and I guess Christian Bale did the same thing. I struggled. That whole yeah. He's probably bottom 2 with it's him or
The George Lazenbys of the Batman world?
well, hey, there's a George Lazenby documentary.
He's
out
actually
there.
a super
Will
cool
actually
dude.
make you think he's number 1 for the
Yeah.
James Bonds.
Yeah.
It's got to be a toss up between. I would just say last place is the 3 of Kilmer, Clooney, and Ben Affleck.
I have a hard time believing Geely can be Batman. Like the guy in Geely. Remember Geely with J-Lo?
Of course.
You remember that film?
A fantastic film.
Oilers news, gentlemen.
Cinematic film.
We just got a survey result back, Neville, from like the nation, and they said that they like it when the podcast is gibberish. They're like, we don't really like it when it's about hockey. We like it when they're just talking shit about random stuff. And that's like really good for us because we were always trying to keep it on the rails and talking about hockey. Now that we know people don't want to hear that, well, it's just game on around here.
Who doesn't
talk
like
about
random stuff?
Yeah, exactly. We can talk about the island of Dr. Morrow until Hernan tells us that the show's over, really. Game tonight, Hurricanes,
Big game.
7 bells.
Have to win.
Every time the Oilers play the Hurricanes, I still remember Game 7 of you know when and you know where.
Well, I was wondering about that. Do people still hate the Hurricanes
Yes.
as much?
Of
Do they, though?
course.
I do.
Well, I know
It's-
you do, but that's because we're still out in the fucking jungle fighting a war that's been over for decades now.
Wow, that's true.
You know, if you ever heard that story of that Japanese soldier that was stuck on an island still believing the war was going on
Yeah,
for like
that's what I'm
30 years
talking about.
after
Buddy,
the
there
war?
was tons of them that did that. All the little tiny islands around Okinawa, they basically just went like, yeah, don't bother going there. There's people there that we can't convince to surrender.
I feel like that is us with the Carolina Hurricanes because everybody now, they're jerks and they do the celebrations, the storm surge or whatever. No, I don't want it. I'm still upset. I
still can't forgive Doug Waite. He's one of my favorite Oilers of all
Oh,
time.
I know. And Ray Whitney.
Blow his shoulder out and can't raise the cup up. That's sad. If it was anybody other than Carolina, I'd watch that and I'd have emotion. I still can't watch it.
I have to tell you, now, I went on Owen Radio last week and delivered a take, which I did deliver on our podcast,
Which
but
was
didn't
also
catch-
horrible.
Which didn't catch as much fire.
I
but
don't listen to this podcast. It's not very good.
I'm getting some heat for it, but I'm going to stand by it. But
Hernan, I need you to chime in on this one too. Jay for the functioning brain is suggesting that the Oilers trade Evan Bouchard for no reason whatsoever.
I'm saying I'm saying the deal has to make sense.
Is it the
but
Uggs talking,
I'm
Jay? Are the Uggs making decisions
I am
for
saying
you now?
the market has such a high value on him, and the value I assign him does not match that of the market. So let's cash that in and get someone who is actually worth that value back, who can contribute to the team.
Can you give me an example of this cockamamie logic? Who would you trade a 35-year-old, 19-year-old super stud defenseman for and feel you're going to get long-term value?
Well, it's tough to find. It's tough. A contributing top 6 player who would be under team control so that we have the ability to re-sign. So someone that we know that we can bring to the Oilers that can have an immediate impact in the top 6 and that we can get 4 to 5 years out of.
I know why you're doing this. Is it because Bouchard has a slightly googly eye?
Oh,
that shit'll work itself out, man. You get special glasses.
I'm never
it's
judging a book by its cover.
It's mildly googly. I see it in the photos. I know what you're seeing. You don't have to get rid of them.
I think he's jealous about the fantastic beard.
Eberle had a quasi googly eye too, and I liked Eberle.
And a gap tooth, and he just re-signed with the Islanders. We should have kept him.
Yeah, well, and, but I'm saying I don't care googly eye or
it
not.
was mildly googly.
It was mildly. Who cares? Fuck, I've got googly eyes every Friday and Saturday night.
Slight side story about the Notorious B.I.G. Remember how he had a real googly eye?
Oh yeah.
I saw there's a movie out or a documentary about him right now, and they're talking to his mom how he had real thick glasses. She was like, if you don't wear those glasses, your eyes are going to go all googly. And he's like, I don't care. I'm wearing no glasses anymore. And then he had to wear sunglasses for the rest of his life. Are you saying that's what Bouchard's looking at? And that's why you want to get rid of him? You don't want a sunglasses Oiler?
It's because he's refusing to wear sunglasses. If he wore them, maybe I'd be like, damn, this guy's got the jam that I want. Hernan, thoughts on my take?
And mine, too, about the sunglasses.
I agree with Jay. I'm willing to move anyone on this team.
Man.
He's part of my...
But wait, I'm willing to move anyone but 2 players. Like, if Nuge brings you a better package, I move Nuge. I move anyone.
Dare you?
You'd move number 97, Connor McDavid.
No, I said 2 players I would have
Okay.
moved. 29 and 97. The rest is fair game for me because if you're going to improve the team, why not?
Our window is opening
Yes.
now. We have a chance to make the playoffs this year. And as much as I don't want Taylor Hall to be an Oiler, I'm actually concerned if he becomes an Avalanche. It's a weird double standard. So these guys are arming up, and if we only have Connor for so long, and if we keep losing, that's going to get shorter. So we have to start doing the things now for this 4 to 5 year window to give us a chance to compete every year. And I thought maybe Holland was thinking that was going to be next year.
Yeah.
But because we're top of the Pacific, which I am concerned we're going to start sliding because other teams are getting hot and we're just kind of saying steady Eddie. That's another take I want to add to this podcast is that I am worried about the Oilers at the moment. But they win tonight and plan the parade again. But I think we have to start doing something now. And if we're going to get rid of an asset, I think Bouchard because he's right-handed.
But I think you have to look long-term at the expansion draft as well.
Don't get technical with me.
If it's now, if the time to win is now, I think you empty the cupboard of prospects. If we truly believe the time to win is now,
I don't see like fully, but we start building. Like if
Bouchard's expendable if the time is now.
100%.
Bear is expendable.
No,
if the time is now.
I think we need Bear. We need to keep Bear.
The time is now.
The time is now. We need.
The time is now.
Now is the time.
If it is,
and Bear we need because he eats like 20 to 25 minutes of time, and he does a good job at doing it.
And we're talking about Evan Bouchard. Like, I mean, we're not talking about I can't miss. He's going to be an NHLer, but I mean, you have Caleb Jones, you have Ethan Bear. Clefbaum's not going anywhere. So for me, if you can get a guy for the next 3-4 years, a quality guy, because you're going to have to give up quality to get quality.
Whom are you thinking of? All these theoretical players.
What if Holland can convince his old friend Steve Yzerman to let go of, I'm going to butcher his last name, Athanasiou.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Yeah.
He's an RFA. He's young.
No, I wouldn't do it. You know why? His name's too hard to pronounce.
I know.
Remember, I had
We'll get him to change his
Pugliarvi.
name. That's part of the re-signing.
Part of the problem with Pugliarvi was his name was too long.
Same with Pyarvi Svensson.
Pyarvi Svensson, they dropped Svensson, got even worse. The only good long-named player is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Other than that, if you're pushing more than 6 letters, fuck off. Wait a minute, McDavid, 5, good. Drysdale 6-ish.
That's my thing. If something like that exists, you have to entertain it because I'm not as high as many others or everyone else apparently, except for my boy Hernan, if the deal makes sense, and a couple little quiet Instagram DMers that we're slowly building a.
But you'll note how
a
none of them want
movement.
to come out in public.
They don't want to come out in public. I'm going to coax them. It just first the whistleblower kind of gives you the information. You got to kind of coach them. They become an asset, and then you deploy them.
I think they're
not ready to be deployed yet.
Do I want to side with a man who wears Uggs? And they're just like, no, I will not publicly join this man on his quest.
How many
Because of these Uggs, I can make hot takes because my feet are warm and comfortable.
How many playoffs have the Oilers seen in the last 13 years?
Let me just check. Hold on.
Hit us with the real
It's
shit.
One, exactly.
Yeah.
So win now.
If the time
win now,
if
man.
you're going to wave the flag and say the time is now,
we
got
to
to take a look at all of our prospects differently. Because if the time is now, it's how do we assemble the best team for the next 3 years.
And I'm saying the biggest buzz in the market is Bouchard.
Not Bear?
No.
Well, no, we're not. We got to keep Bear. Bear is cheap. Bear is cheap. We need to keep him, and he's eating up minutes, and he's eating up good minutes. He's delivering. So in the playoffs, we need Bear. Bouchard is not a value to us in the playoffs. I don't even know where he slates it next year, but I know we're gonna have defense go and blah 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 blah. But the fact that he's right-handed and this is the unicorn of defensemen, but the fact I don't think he's as good as everyone thinks. But if the market thinks he's good, let's cash him in for something that is. So package him up with Puljujärvi, package him up with picks. We do have to leverage the future. We do have to do some asset management. We can't just give them all away.
Well, we've been building for the future for so long because the time wasn't
So we
now.
need to make decisions on who we're going to keep and who we're going to go, but we have to be prepared to let go of some and start leveraging our future picks here.
Who has a better upside in their career, do you think? Is it Caleb Jones or is it Bouchard?
See, that's what I was going to say. I think Caleb Jones is the one that gets moved because he's going to have to be protected in the expansion draft. He does have some cachet. He's a good player. I think he's the one that gets moved.
I don't think he has the value of Bouchard, though.
He doesn't have
It's
the value
crazy
of
to say
Bouchard.
that.
Bouchard, perception-wise, has a way higher ceiling.
I'm a big fan because he got an Old Testament first name. Caleb, that's Old Testament stuff. And those people generally are very trustworthy people. New Testament, not so much. Old Testament, I'm in.
I love Caleb Jones's mom. She is so active on Twitter.
Yeah.
She's the biggest supporter of her son.
It's just gibberish, Neville. Don't worry. I'm not really saying anything.
You know Caleb took on his brother, right?
No.
Yeah.
Seth?
What?
Abel.
What's that?
Abel.
Cain and Abel.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh, just out Bibled you.
Yeah,
Oh,
you did.
this is a good day for me.
All right.
I'm going to the Olympics now, everybody.
His cousin.
Oh, Caleb, you did not kill your brother. Your brother's in the NHL. Which one is he?
Yep, that's Seth.
Seth Jones.
Seth.
He's
Seth
a hell of a
Rogen.
gun, too. If
Yeah,
Caleb's
he's a
got
hell of a
anything that
player.
Seth's got in him.
I just think that Caleb Jones, based on now and the future, is going to be the one that goes. Yes, Hernan, I agree with you that he does not have the sexiness of an Evan Bouchard. I am a dad fan, but I do think that Caleb Jones is going to be the one that goes.
Hernan, if you show up wearing Uggs next week because you want to fit in with your boy Jay,
Hernan, there is
weirdo fucking.
There is room on the team. You can privately DM me with the other people that I'm coaching right now to come onto this side.
Coaching.
Indoctrinating, spitting some real truth.
Coaching Bouchard fans to get used to not being Oilers fans.
Thank you. As long as we can agree that the window is now.
If the window is now, we need to rethink everything.
It has to be. We're first place in the Pacific.
What about draft picks then?
We have to use them too. You have to give people prospects, draft picks, and we have to shed some salary players. So you have to be willing to say goodbye to Gagne, try to get rid of Chason, try to get rid of Manning. These are the potential players we also have to get rid of. Obviously, in a playoff run this year, you kind of maybe want Gagne, but I'm willing to let him go.
What?
Yeah.
I think
This is the sacrifice you have to make. The time is now.
If the time is now, you got to get rid of Gagne. If the time is now, if it truly is, I'm not there with you yet.
Gagne is winning French, and we need to win.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which I struggle with.
If the time is now, Sam Gagne has to go. I get it. But
If the time is now.
I think it's not
Which
this
I think
year.
it is.
You think it's this year?
I think we have. Well, we're punching our ticket to the playoffs now, so we may as well start doing it.
Yeah.
And that way we get one. And if we don't go that deep, at least we had one playoff round as this new unit after the trade deadline together to start learning and kind of gelling. And then next season it's fucking on.
Well, if the time is now, we shouldn't be drafting in the first round for 2 or 3 years. If the time is now, we should be bundling that shit up for today, guys.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And that's totally well. That's what you do.
Do we even have a draft party if we don't have a first round pick?
You don't.
I don't know what the fuck to do.
You don't go Columbus crazy trying to win their first playoff round crazy, but like
Yeah, exactly.
But like we already have some good people. Like the thing about the Oilers right now that's very interesting is the thing we were getting shit on last year is actually very good, and that's our defense. Our defense is fine.
Yeah.
So if we can get another top 6 person and add like a third line, I don't care winger or center or whatever, but someone who's established who would be like a 20 goal scorer on a third line type guy, but like established veteran, not too old, but someone that could drive the third line. I think like that. I think that's the only question mark will be goaltending in playoffs. But I think we actually got a team that can do some damage.
Can we make one agreement if the time is now, as though anything we say matters outside this room, which it doesn't? Can we agree the time is not now to bring Taylor Hall back to Edmonton? In fact, if we want to fucking win.
But that's the weird thing. I do not want Taylor Hall here.
Good. I don't know why the hell all this smoke keeps popping up online.
No, and we won't do it because I guess Detroit. Colorado. No.
Arizona?
No. New Jersey's asking for the sun and the moon to do it. But like, I am telling you, if he goes to Colorado, I'm like, fuck. But it's because Colorado. If he goes to Arizona, I'm like, yeah, because he can go and fucking sink that team.
See, I don't think so. I think there's only 3 spots in the Pacific that are up for grabs, and if he goes to Arizona, that's going to eliminate one.
Exactly. What do you mean?
Eliminate one of those. I think he'll just make them better.
That's precisely right. What?
No, I don't think
on
he
a
will.
short term. In the short term, I think he makes them a lot better.
Like
long term,
10 games.
Long term, I might agree with you that maybe that's not a fit personality wise. But in the short term, he comes in, he's on his best behavior. He's like, I'm just here to play, coach, and all I want to do is score goals, make the playoffs.
First scrum he faces in any round of playoffs when he starts looking to see if his skate laces are untied while his teammates are getting face washed.
But they're in the dance.
You got your
But
classic.
then the dance will end and they'll be out quick.
But they got there.
You got the ex-girlfriend backsliding goggles on, man. You don't backslide. You break up. You say, we've had a lovely time together. Thank you for that thing that happened the one time. And then you leave. And if you start looking back on your relationship 2, 3, 4 years later with some fucking rose-colored glasses on, remembering the time you went to the dance, remembering the time you had the milkshake you split like in an Archie comic, of course the relationship looks good. But you've forgotten all the bad shit.
Yeah, so that's why I don't want him here.
Good.
I don't want him here at all.
Listening.
But we do need to add a couple pieces. And I know we're just
Name me one guy you want to see in an Oiler jersey if the time is now.
Athanasiou. I don't know what type of guy he is. That's the thing. It's the culture is so important. Like the culture of this room right now is very good, and so if he's a good dude, the guy is fast as fuck and can score 30 goals.
Was that a Greek name?
Greek.
Didn't they invent the marathon?
Nailed it. Exactly.
I could be on board.
You know what the playoffs are? A marathon.
They are a marathon. They're not a sprint, Neville. It's a marathon. It ain't a sprint in the playoffs.
So it's a guy like that, a guy like Boone Jenner, for your third line.
Brody Jenner?
Brody Jenner.
I wouldn't bring
Jenner, actually.
Kylie Jenner, maybe I'd bring in.
Yeah. So, well, any of the Jenners, really.
Yeah. Well, not.
No.
Olympic athlete.
No? You make a valid point.
Yeah. So any Jenner.
You would definitely add some.
Any Jenner in a storm.
Yeah.
Right.
This has been a great show. Neville, I'm sorry. You're you're a successful man. You got tricked into the little brick basement. You don't know what the hell's happening anymore. Kareem had a good idea coming in from Cornerstone. You're like, what was that? Good thing none of this equipment's connected. No one's going to hear a word we've said for the last hour.
So
none of this has been
to step in the role. I'm not going to be grouchy, so I'm not going to be fully in the role of Tyler, and I'm not married, so I'm not fully in the role of Tyler Remchuk. In the name of programming and bringing up something we said last episode that we would bring up at this episode, we encouraged people, listeners, to start rating the show and providing some comments.
Oh, nice. Shit.
And it's great.
It is?
Oh, you know what? I like it because some people did it.
It's mostly me.
And
just so you know, I signed up for 15 iTunes accounts.
Well, thank you.
It's costing me like $600 a month.
You, sir, might win some Oodle Noodle.
5 stars for Jay, I said in my review.
We did say we were going to bribe people. So we're trying to bribe people to get 5-star rating on the podcast. We figure that's the only way to do it. Because if actually people rate it honestly, it's probably going to be poorly.
I would give it 1 star.
So I think we got like 6 ratings. So
yeah, we got some interesting takes.
I like it. So how many did we get? We got Mike. I'll let you. Edit that, please.
Government name Hernan.
Government name has been issued. Edit it right then and there. Bag milk. We got. I'll get you to read them off because you're so articulate with your words.
You just want me to read this one with
2,
the
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had 10, which would equate to 10% of our overall ratings.
We've had 100 ratings.
Yes.
There might be people listening. I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, we know we have 12, so we have 2 more to rate. And
so
then
my grandma rated us twice, and I have 6 fucking iTunes
So
accounts.
first of all, we want to thank everyone who did it. We want to encourage more people to subscribe, rate our show, give it a 5, and then slam us in the comments.
How do we get noodles to these people?
Well, then we'll read their name, and hopefully they listen to the show again, and we didn't lose them.
us. Yeah.
And be like, hey, I'm the guy that said the comment.
Sure.
Grizz4327.
DM us on Nation Real Life on Twitter or Instagram. We can get it there, Wanya.
Yeah, you're going to get a free oodle noodle meal.
All right, let me hear these.
So nice.
Let me hear these.
Although
reviews.
our friend Grizz4327, the free noodles. Most entertaining Nation Network podcast, 5 stars. However, there is an issue.
Yeah.
And I'm quoting now. Ladies, this isn't me saying this. This is Grizz4327. I suffer from hemorrhoids, and when I laugh really hard, they become inflamed and leaky.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I am able to listen to this podcast because it is funny, but not so funny it causes me pain and discomfort.
Okay.
Wayne, like Kanye, is the funnier one in the program, while producer Tyler discourages talk of real life and wants to talk about sports or his hot wife.
Yeah.
Right?
This guy gets it.
Oh, Grizz, that is well done.
Tyler's always talking about his hot wife.
Grizz 2 Z's. Thank you for your 5 stars.
_ Landy N says, sorry, Tyler, 5 stars. Best part is always when everyone gangs up on Tyler. It's hilarious. As much as I do love the Oilers talk, the random tangents are so funny. Congrats on the wedding, Tyler.
Yes.
That's good.
From Sitting at My Desk. Pretty good. 5 stars.
Okay.
Really enjoy the pod. Keep Chalmers out. Unless he gives more home tips.
Okay.
Of course.
Interesting. That Chalmers will be happy quasi to hear that.
Well, he's a ghost. We don't see him in here, and he doesn't listen. So it's great. I agree with the Chalmers hate. Continue. This is wonderful feedback.
High quality content. 5 stars from longtime Nation reader Danger Suede.
Nice.
Oh, love Danger Suede.
Do you enjoy talk about produce or hockey? Do you like a podcast that don't have a proper studio after 150 weeks or 3 dudes sitting at a casting couch desk? That's why Real Life is the best podcast. There's an undernote here. Best podcast about Oilers / nothing recorded in River Valley earlier in the week.
Okay. That's specific, but we'll take the 5 stars.
Very specific. From Hank the Tank.
Oh.
You know he means business.
Yeah. You're not fucking around when you're a tank.
Okay, but 5 stars. Like the pod, but this Tyler guy sounds way too old and miserable to get married.
Yeah.
Therefore, he must be rich.
Yeah.
Better get an ironclad prenup.
Smart.
1 out of 1 listeners found this review to be helpful.
Tyler, I hope you listen to that one.
You won't.
Only 150 episodes? Pfft. 5 stars. 31 Mike 13. Nice. Scuttle Puck sucks more than this show and has 121 more episodes. You guys have a ways to go.
What's a scuttle puck?
I assume it's another podcast.
Is it a rival show? Is that what we're beefing with?
I don't listen to podcasts. They're mostly garbage.
5 stars. Not Chalmers. Wow. I assume this...
it says Chalsies.
The Chalsies is the username here. One.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you know who made that?
Chalmers didn't cheat. I trust him with my life. Also, he needs his own podcast about building stuff and home maintenance.
Now, just hold the hell up, dear. Did Chalmers write a review of this podcast?
I'm not done one yet.
Yeah, that's strong.
Would also bang him. He's super hot.
Wow.
That is narcissism at its finest.
People I feel sorry for, people I feel bad for, and people you just got to leave him alone. The guy who messed himself on the bobsled, you don't want to talk to that guy after. You just leave him be. Chalmers logging in to call himself sexy. I'll just let him be. That's gross.
Keep it up, gents. 5 star. This comes from Mercs D23. Less
yeah.
Tyler and more real life.
Oh, I love it. Tyler's getting panned.
Tyler is taking it.
Vote for Hernan.
Yeah, vote Hernan. From Denis Grebishkov, former GOAT on the Nation.
That can't be real. No.
Disappointing,
Sure.
but 5 stars.
Oh.
The content is good. However, I was disappointed to go on Instagram and find out that Tyler wasn't a jacked Michael Cera.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about, but, I'm disappointed most people aren't Michael Cera.
Well, yeah.
Anything else?
It's fantastic. One more from S.H. McSteely.
Oh, yeah.
Second best podcast I listen to from guy who sponsors the other podcast.
Oh, it's gone corporate.
More Chumgate, more Wanye stories, more chirping Chalmers, more golf. Nation Beer Garden needs to happen for playoffs 2020.
Oh,
I read some survey results and want to thank everybody who was at Oilers Nation in the last week.
Seemingly thousands of entries.
It was filled out fast. We were hoping to get like 100. We got like 600 in a weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really nice shit that most of our moms must have logged in and put about us because
My mom did a few times. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like hell's cauldron we would open up and all the ghosts would escape and start biting us. But everybody seems to really kind of dig what's up.
We may have more than 12 listeners, Wanya. We may.
Tyler keeps giving us these download reports. I don't know if he's trying to encourage us or what he's trying to do.
I think it's got a random number generator for listens.
I'm also convinced Tyler can't count.
Yeah.
There's that.
Well, he's married now. He doesn't have time to count.
He can count to one engagement.
Yep.
That's what he can count to. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's shut it down. This has been a really good show.
Whoa, we have to award our prize winner.
Oh, well, how are we going to get in touch with them there?
So we shut them out, and if they hit us up, then hey, they solved the mystery.
You know what? That is true. 10 people of our 12 listeners responded this week.
I think like Chalmers was funny about how talked about how he wanted to bang himself.
Let's pick Dangerous Wade. I like that guy.
Let's award 2.
Oh, fine. I picked Dangerous Wade.
Dangerous Wade 1.
Yeah.
And then hit us up, Nation Real Life on Twitter and Instagram. Nation Real Life.
And I think Twitter, we got to. Well, I think we also have to give the hemorrhoids talk was funny.
That is true.
I think we also shout out Grizz4327. Oodle Noodle has the budget to give away 2 free meals this week.
You know what? Let's go wild. Let's give away 3.
Wow.
That's holy shit. It's a week of giving, folks.
Yeah, DM us. Everybody's getting free Oodle Noodle. I wish there was a holiday coming up.
If we read one of your comments and we didn't name you as a winner, the first one of you to DM us wins the third.
That's a fair.
It's a race.
Yeah.
It's like the Purge, but for noodles.
This is how people sprint in 2019.
Yeah.
It's a social media sprint. Who can type the fastest?
Yep.
This is where it's a shame where we're going, but that's all we can.
As a society, it's like a shame where we're going. As a,
it's a cesspool. We're not running anymore.
Dark close to episode 150.
Well, it's also hey, we got to plan a stag next episode for Tyler.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a new beginning. A married man, Tyler Yaremchuk.
Shout out Hernan.
Of course, shout out Hernan.
Amazing.
It was fun, guys. First time on the Real Life podcast.
You want to hit one of them buttons that makes noises on the right?
Sure.
Hit one.
Previously on Big Brother.
Well, this is the end of this one. It's gone nowhere. See you next week.
Yeah.